Greetings and welcome to another edition of Lakers Fast Break Spotlight on the Lakerholics weekend. I'm Jamie Sweet. Below me is Sean Grice. Next to him is Laker Tom, and above him is Michael Heinrich, and we're the Brady Bunch this morning. This is the story. Anyways, I don't think we did a show last week, did we? Or did I miss the show last week? And we did do a show. Anyway,
You didn't.
I didn't do the show. You guys did the show. It was the number one rated show that we've done on the Saturday mornings. So thanks to everybody who tuned in. I wasn't here, so maybe the key is it's like when the Angels won the World Series. I had to be in South Africa for it to happen. maybe I can stay very far away from the show, so it gets incredible ratings and everybody tunes in and watches us. Because since I came back from South Africa, they haven't sniffed the World Series. So that's how that works for me.
It's all you. It's all you.
I mean, listen, as a Scorpio, I know that's true. I'm not copping Laker Tom's look today. I'm actually outside, so that's why I have the sunglasses on. Although I'm realizing it makes it impossible for me to read what's going on in the chat, so this may not last because my eyes have degenerated to the point.
It's nice to see outside for a change.
Oh yeah, no, it's lovely outside. We're in the backyard. We're in the backyard here at Casa Dolce. You know, got some grass. No artificial turf. Sorry, Sim Blades. No artificial turf. But if you're looking for artificial turf, Sim Blades is the way to go in the Southern California area. And that's your free. That's your free plug there.
I was going to say, are we sponsored now?
he's essentially a sponsor, I would say. I don't know. That man might have more to say on that than I. But anyway, so ugly win last night, and as everybody I watched the local broadcast. If you watch it nationally, they might have been saying different things, but and Stu Lance was out, so Derek Fisher replaced him as part of the local broadcast, which was an interesting thing because they kept asking him stories about Kobe and his time with the Lakers and Phil Jackson stuff, and I guess the last time he did it, they lost. So we won, thankfully, this time. So he was a little bit worried that he was a bad luck charm. But it was an ugly game. And Derek Fisher throughout the night was like, when you get back from a road trip, the first game back is really like the actual last game of the road trip, unless there's like a few days between it, because you're still on whatever time zone you just left. In this case, Eastern time zone, I believe. And so your body is just like all over the map, and your brain is all over the map. And the Lakers looked like that last night for pretty much the entire game until, as Michael and I were discussing, Austin Reeves finally found his three-point shot with about 7 minutes to go there in the fourth quarter. And then he hit like three in a row, and that basically put the game out of reach. The other meaningful point to bring up about the game, because it really was quite an ugly game. There's not a lot to really talk about in a positive light other than that we won. But Luka picked up the 16 technical, and I don't think this one's gonna get rescinded. I think we'll chat about that for a minute. But if I'm a betting man, I'm betting against this one getting rescinded. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't hate it. I think he could use a day off. If he doesn't play against
it's against the right team. The timing is
it's against the right. It's against the right team. It gives.
But it was a bullshit call, man. I mean,
and you could tell Zaire Williams was baiting him, and that's something that Luka's going to have to worry about for the last 7 games because
they got to eliminate this double technical.
No, because then you got ideally, sure, but at some point everybody's yapping, and you just want to shut some guys up. If I'm a ref, I don't mind the double.
Let them yap until somebody takes a punch.
Yeah. Well, that's some 80s basketball there, Tom, and that's not how it's going to work.
Well, that's how it should work.
That's Ron Strickland with a running forearm down the court. Just
Well, the guy says, "Turn your game off," then it's your bad luck.
All right, I can see there's chats and I can't read them, so I'm switching to manual vision here. All right, hey Joe, good morning, Kurt. Oh yeah, there's so many people. Good morning, everyone. I can't read a damn thing. All right, so let's talk about this. So Luke is going to get a suspension, I think. I'll be surprised if they rescind it. It's going to end up being 3 days arrest. And honestly,
it gives him a break going forward for the remaining
3 days arrest.
Yeah,
3 days arrest before
two more before he gets another suspension.
That's what I was questioning. So after you get suspended, is it every tech after?
Every two.
No, you get 2 and then another.
Okay, it's honestly great because now he gets a buffer.
Yeah. He gives you a screw up there.
We heard Laker Tom's take. He wants us to go back to the 80s where they let him play with baseball bats and sap gloves. Michael, your take on the tech and the.
Well, they do. They have the version. They have the modern. Well, I'm sorry, Michael. They have the modern version of that same thing with commit so many fouls and be so physical that the refs can't call them all.
That's what happens with LeBron.
That's what happens with LeBron too. When you combine that with the fact that big guys should get an advantage because they're bigger, they have an advantage, and we're sort of eating it up.
That as well.
Different rules for the backcourt versus front court. It's ridiculous.
I'm gonna put John up here. Actually, I don't mind getting caught up. There we go. That's better. Because I can do one of these where I'm like.
So anyway, on the tech, I don't know if anybody knows or not, but this extreme hot streak that Luka is on coincided with his 15th tech. He stopped arguing. He stopped yelling at the refs.
I hope
because he knew he couldn't do it. He had that one more tick, and he just went off over the last.
He went off on the other players in the audience.
He's been on such a roll since he picked up that 15 tech. It's just kind of funny. I'm not worried about. Fortunately, it's the Wizards, and I think we should be able to.
Take a day off, man. You deserve it.
Marcus,
hey, Austin. Now's your chance to get 84. Now's your chance to get 84 and throw it in Bam's face.
That's right. Oh man.
Well, I swore when that happened, I wasn't going to do a trade for Bam, but there have been certain times that I've actually found myself regressing on that idea.
I mean, Bam would be an okay.
He would be an excellent fit on this team.
He'd be okay. He's not a lob threat.
He just makes too much money, though, man.
Yeah, it's too pricey.
Jamie, you said something. You said there's not much to take away from that game. It was an ugly game. I think 8 blocks by our centers combined is something to take away. Jackson Hayes has blocked 16 shots in his last 5 games.
Not only that, the eye test really says that he's gauging where to be better than he used to.
Yeah, his timing has improved dramatically.
He's not on the floor like he usually is.
He's been he's been better this year from the standpoint of physicality. He put on that 15 pounds of muscle over the summer, and so he's been better. But yeah, the thing I think
pound guard still knocked him out of
Ayton's picked up his play too. So I think our center rotation is becoming almost solid. It's starting to look okay.
That's a great point, Michael. Sean, so clearly, since his Clint Capella comment kind of backfired in his face, and it was no surprise, I thought, that he was forced to play against Clint Capella literally the next day for a very extended stretch, and Clint Capella kind of owned him in that game, as some people may or may not recall. Since that game against Clint Capella, Ayton flipped his switch. So there's been several there's been a lot of internal work, I feel like, that players on the team have been doing that we have been
figuring it out, man.
We've been hoping that they would do from the beginning of the season. And, like anybody on planet Earth, like all of us, change in our lives takes time. It doesn't, everybody says, oh, you flipped the switch.
Well, everything else doesn't always go the way you want it to.
Well, but that means that Ayton has been working on this, in my opinion. And so I'd like, Sean, what are your thoughts on the center rotation right now? Hayes and Ayton. Is this enough of a center rotation to do some damage in the playoffs?
Oh, that's a good question. I think they're good. I think they're good enough playing right now to keep us in a playoff series, Jamie. I'm not looking at the center position right now as a point of weakness when it comes to the playoffs, especially if we're gonna go up. Look, I think it's a plus that we're going against Houston, even if they're missing Steven Adams.
They're
a big. They're a big.
Still quite a few games to go.
They're a big team. They're a big team. But Minnesota. But so is OKC and the Spurs. It's just play of like different styles. It's how that old saying goes, styles make fights. I think Hayes and Ayton, the way they play now, they'll have to, if they play that way, say against a Denver or Houston, I think we're golden. I think they have to change the way the scheme works, and that's more on JJ and I think Nate McMillan, because I think Nate's done a really good job of coaching Ayton and Hayes up on the defensive side. I know Brooksy takes care of more the perimeter defense, but Nate has really done a good job of forging roles, and it seems like they understand the roles now, Jamie. There's no misinterpretation. There's no guessing games as there was with Darvin Ham as to what my role is on this team. You clearly have a role on this team, and if you play it, you'll get playing time. It's pretty obvious. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think at this point in time, I don't think JJ is cares who plays and who doesn't, as long as you're effective. Outside of the big three, I think he's very, very open to a meritocracy on this team as far as who plays well.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think Kurt Affair with a nice comment here. As long as the Lakers keep defending the catch point quickly, we're still in business. And I think that's one of the adjustments the team has made. We're quicker to the ball, getting into the interior of the perimeter. You know, we're better at getting, if somebody the ball at the elbow down, we swarm that player very quickly, and we weren't doing that at the beginning of the season. And I've been very hard on JJ Redick since he was hired. I'm not afraid to admit it, and I'm also not afraid to say that I'm really impressed with not just JJ Redick, the entire coaching staff has really done their work this season in terms of, it took about a year and a half for JJ Redick to understand that the switch everything scheme isn't enough. I'm not saying that you can't use it. I'm just saying it can't be the only defensive scheme that you rely on, especially in the playoffs. And since about December, somewhere in there, somewhere after we started getting our asses handed to us after Christmas, they started going more zone. And then we started adding some trapping schemes in the paint. And now there's a different look to the defense it's like a scoring defense. It's not a switching defense. And there's guys who are, and I don't know if it's a communication.
What happened?
All right, we
lost him. I think Jamie brought up something very interesting.
Censorship.
I've noticed this pattern too in the NBA the past probably 3 seasons, is that you can't play man anymore in the NBA. I try and so I'm here, so you can't really play man. We're all back.
2 guys. Okay.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, we're trying. This is live TV. This is live stream, ladies and gentlemen. If CNN and NBC have problems,
hold on, Sean. Hold on. Everything froze up on my end. Sean's frozen up in here.
I'm here, sort of. You're hiding me. Your screen is over mine.
Can you hear me, Michael? No.
Yeah, I can hear you. But your screen is over mine.
Heck. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. But can you hear
me?
But
you don't. Hold on. I'm going to try something here. It's probably going to screw everything up. Let's see what happens. Yeah. Now, hold on. It's working.
Hello? Anybody there?
Okay, there we go.
Here you are.
There we go. I don't know what happened. All right, I don't know if I have to restart the stream. Hold on a sec. I have no idea if we're still on live. I don't think we are. Oh no,
it says we're live.
All right. I'm just gonna put in the chat. Are we on again? Question mark. I don't know what happened. I think my network just dropped out for a second, and now this does not survive that well, evidently. All right, so sorry about that.
But what I was saying there, Jamie, after you brought up a really good point is the past 3 years I've noticed a significant change in defensive schemes, like systemically throughout the NBA, and that is that you can't play man defense anymore. You can't play man. If you have a great defender, that's wonderful. You still can't cut off one. You still can't cut off one side of the floor. One of the great podcasters around, unfortunately, is Draymond Green, and Draymond is very intelligent when it comes to X's and O's. It's you have to give it to him. So when he talks about everybody is live on the floor, what he's saying is you have to have 5 players who have the ability to shoot, put the ball on the floor when man defense is creating problems, and you have to create. The Lakers are able to withstand certain flaws because we've instituted a zone defense. Most teams don't practice zone defense anymore. So when you see it, it's a surprise. It really is. Less than 4% of all defensive schemes are zones now. So when you throw a zone in there, it creates confusion. You know that old saying that bodybuilders have and trainers guys about muscle confusion? I think that's what this coaching staff is giving the players in scouting reports now. We need to confuse defenses by implementing zone, and then, like Jamie said, put in a trap, put in traps, and you set yourself up. You set yourself up for better success, because man, the perimeter players have really gotten after the ball. Have you noticed that? Like Austin Reeves has become an expert at swiping a ball. If you're not looking at him, you have to pay attention. Yet this is what, and again, people knocking Austin Reeves. You have to pay attention to him defensively. You want to take advantage of him? He could take advantage of you if you're not paying attention to him. He loves swiping at the ball.
You could say the same for Luka. Actually, he's had really active hands on the perimeter. Tom, I was going to ask this question for you. Like I said, I've been hard on Redick. How do you feel the staff has adapted to the realities of the NBA and adjusting the Laker defense?
I think it several factors are involved. One thing I think is really interesting is that 4 weeks ago, almost everybody on this team, other than Austin Reeves and Luka Doncic, was worried about what their future was. They basically were all on expiring contracts. And that was all the talk that I had when they had the 3 losses in a row. It was really down. We lost those 2 clutch games. And then in the 16 games since then, we won 14 of 2. We got 14-2. And the reason is it is like Michael said, that they're playing defense on a string, and it's because we've got a little continuity. We're winning games. Luka's playing premier. Austin has come up there. And you've gotten that thing that you get when you have the same guys playing together and you finally have everybody healthy and that's all of the rotations are the same. You got a continuity. Yeah, you're playing with the same guys in the same cycles in the game.
Which we hadn't been able to do all year until
we haven't been able to do all year. So what I actually have been raving about everything that the Lakers have been doing, but I haven't personally given JJ enough credit. There was a poster that on Twitter, on X, that basically said that he should be considered for Coach of the Year because of the job he's done in putting all of these pieces together, getting everybody to buy in, even getting DeAndre Ayton to say he's made a big mistake. He looked in the mirror and said, "Hey, I'm just going to take my role." That's an incredible. And you got LeBron James, the greatest player of all time, willing to take a third option. What LeBron done is change his game. He just eliminated bad shots. Yep. I'm not going to take anything but a real high percentage shots, maybe 20%, 25% dunks. I mean, JJ's done a terrific job. It's all this BS about championship conditioning, championship communication, and championship habits. That's why the team is such a clutch team at the end. Not only do they have the talented clutch players, but they have a coach who's drawn up plays to win games at the end over and over and over.
Plus, they've had a lot of guys with a lot of rest.
The Lakers are a playoff team. They're the nightmare team that anybody wants to meet in the playoffs. I think JJ's coach of the year. The Lakers reckoning of 48 wins, man. Nobody thought we'd have 48 wins. We used to be 34 and 24. Remember that? 34 and 24 on a 3-game loss streak.
Yep.
JJ's done a wonderful job, but it's going to be the Celtics coach or it's going to be Detroit's coach that wins coach of the year.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. We'll take the championships. You can have all the fucking other awards you want. That's simple, man.
I think
they abused AD and LeBron for years by not giving them enough credit because they get to share the thing. You know,
I think Michael's right. I think because we put this run together on the late half. I mean, clearly when you do awards, you look at the body of work. You don't look at the last 20 games. You don't look at the first 20 games. You don't look at the middle 20. You look at 84.
Yeah, but you don't understand what coaching is about. This is a whole year, a whole 2 years.
That's how I'm not
spent instilling in this team a certain ability so that I'm not at all worried. I knew we were going to have close games, but at the end of these close games, we really have the ability to win those games, man.
I think the voters look at expectations at the beginning of the year, and neither Boston or Detroit.
Well, ESPN had us as a number 10 team in the league, 10 team in the West. That was a prediction for the Lakers.
Well, as long as we're talking about that, I mean, we have to give Charles Lee some credit here. He's going to get some votes for the Charlotte Hornets because they've been a top 5 team in basketball.
There's 4 or 5. I heard somebody propose that they should have coaches of the year, like 5 guys, because it really is unfair. There really were 5 guys that have done great jobs.
We should have MVPs and defensive players, and let's just make it a team.
Well, despite that, Tom's basic point is that the NBA really doesn't want to give JJ.
Well, they don't want to give the Lakers credit.
No, it's true.
It's guilt by association. Always. No matter what happens with the Lakers. A surprise. My God, Lamar Odom should have won 6th Man of the Year about 3 years in a row, and he only won it once, for God's sakes, because the NBA has a problem with
repeat winners.
Well, I mean, David Stern's dream matchup was the Lakers versus the Lakers, but
when you look back at LeBron and how they treated LeBron, I mean, this guy has played with 36% of all of the professional basketball players in the world. I mean, the NBA.
Look at Kobe.
Again, Tom, nobody really wants to just. Sometimes what you want to see makes you blind, right? What Chris Cornell said. What you want to see is
LeBron's going to play 2 or 3
LeBron simplified the game.
2 or 3 more championships.
He has simplified the game for the Lakers. I'm the third option. Yeah. I've had like nobody wants to give honestly, you need to give credit to LeBron for some self-awareness, because a lot of people out there think he doesn't have any. He has more than you realize. He knows himself better than anybody. And he decided, I'm the third option on this team. If we're going to be the best team we can be, I'm the third option. And a lot of you people out there need to give him credit where credit is due, because he was the one with the self-awareness, not externally. He had the self-awareness.
That's an interesting point, and I want to ask Michael this question. When it comes to LeBron James, and Tom just said he's going to play another 2 or 3 more years, I don't know that he's got that much in him. I think that you can see. This is the first year I've ever seen where LeBron looks frustrated with the process, or feels or projects a level of frustration with, I put in X amount of time and I'm only getting X amount of respect from the league. And I don't know. It's the mental, that kind of mental grind is going to be the hardest thing for him to overcome. If he doesn't feel that his time and worth is being respected, I don't think he'll continue. Physically, I have no doubt he could play till he's 50. It's clear. It's clear that if he wanted to play until he was 50 years old, and didn't care what his role was. Do you know what I mean? But he would be a 10-point a game, 3 rebound, 9th man. Should that be his desire? I don't think it is. But Michael, I think there's several things that happened at the same time, and it happened at about the time we did a show 4 weeks ago when Tom said, if we go 500 the rest of the year, we're going to be a play-in team. And from that time, we've lost 4 games. And I think that LeBron, we're all hitting on several of the factors, but I do think that LeBron is probably the biggest one. And your thoughts on this, Michael, and then we'll let everybody, chime in.
Well, I think that
what does it take for somebody of his stature? I mean, I could never imagine Kobe Bryant being like, you know what, Julius Randle, you're the man. It would have never happened. Kobe was not wired that way.
Well,
he's refusing to pass.
Luka, that's the difference. It's Luka that you're willing to do it for.
Well, you know what? Yeah, I think that LeBron's been huge, but like I've been saying most of the year, I was withholding my opinion on this team until we actually got healthy. We needed that continuity. We needed to play together. Guys just weren't playing together, because somebody was always hurt, or more than one person was always hurt.
And we've had a lot of seasons, Michael, when that excuse basically was really what we ended up with at the end of the year.
Yeah. So we finally got healthy. LeBron's bought into his role. Our defense actually started picking up around the 1st of February. Yeah, you could see the change a little at a time. Gradually, you could see the change. The guys were getting more time together, and things were coming together. So I think it's a whole bunch of different things, and LeBron's a major piece of it. But I think he's just one of the pieces. Everything else has been, even with Rui. JJ made a comment. There was a Japanese reporter asked JJ in the post game about Rui's play. He goes, look, if I forgot what the record was. He goes, but that's a 59 game pace that we would have been on for wins if Rui had been healthy. So, and he goes, that should tell you, so it's everybody, it's the entire team has just upped their game. And I just think it's LeBron's leadership that's a key part of that. But I mean, a bunch of different things have happened since we started this.
When you have a miracle like we've had, I mean, back on February 27th, after we had lost those 3 games, man, I really had no faith in this team that was going to pull it out. I mean, I actually thought the big 3 was never going to work, at all, And I was primed on looking at the summer and, man, what we could do with $100 million of free agency money if we dumped all these guys on the team. Now I had the same problem Jamie did, as I just wrote this big article about the 6 players in the Lakers who basically are playing for their lives right now and look like they could have a good chance to come back. It's just flipped around in 4 weeks. In 4 weeks, we've had a miracle. You're absolutely right, Michael. Everything in the world had to go right for the Lakers to be in the spot that they are. And what an effect that's going to have next summer if we really do go deep into the playoffs.
It's a good point. Sean, who said this? I think it was YYC. No, it was YYC says Jake seems to be the one left out. Luka has taken his spotlight, and there's no questioning that since the All-Star break, Laravia's, I don't know if he's hit a wall. I mean, this is the most he's ever played. Not the most games with the most minutes, the most usage, his highest role, his highest involvement in terms of being like in a spotlight on a team that's actually playing for something. He's never played for anything before. And he's young. I think he's only 22, 23. He's not a vet. He's a vet, in that he's been in the league a couple of years, but he has not been through the fire of playoffs or intense competition where you're like, at the end of the season, you're like, man, we really got to like up our level of play as opposed to, well, I should start making some vacation plans. He
was on the Kings.
That's my point, Michael. That's my point.
And the Grizzlies before that.
And
we're not talking about the shining beacons of organizations in the NBA that actually develop players, let them grow.
It's tough when everybody else is nailing threes and you are throwing up air balls every time you shoot.
But he's throwing up air balls on layups. He's lost all confidence in his offense. He's lost all confidence in his offense.
He's got a case of the brain.
He's like he reminds me more of now of a chaos agent. Like he has no real role. Maybe he's misunderstanding what he needs to do out there. But yeah, I mean, Tom and Michael are right. He's forcing things. Feels like
he's
everything is forced.
Well, the reason we're one or two players away from a championship team, and the two players that basically are going to be gone are Vanderbilt and probably Jake at this point in time.
We'll see.
Jamie, I mean, I know Gerald is going to constantly get on Luke Kennard about his defense, but I don't really care. I don't really care about that. Luke is a vet. He's smart. He understands his role and can shoot the hell out of the ball.
Yeah,
man. I've wanted somebody like this. I wanted somebody like this on the Lakers for a really long time.
Just notice at the end of the games who's playing with the big three to close out these games.
A flat out sniper. And by the way, I felt that Stan Van Gundy fell in love with his shooting and did not try and develop Luke as a basketball player, and he needed to move on elsewhere to develop that. He's Danny Green light. He doesn't have Danny's athleticism when the ball's on the floor, but Luke knows how to find the open.
It's the right guy in the right situation for Luke because
he makes the right basketball play
for everybody.
You know, Sean,
is a perfect fit for what the Lakers need, and the Lakers have the players around him to make up for his weaknesses.
That's right, Tom, and all
a volume 3-point shooter that he couldn't be with another team because his release is too slow, and he's reluctant to shoot unless he's sure that it's wide open.
And we've all talked about this. Just put basketball players around Reeves and Luka and watch what happens. We don't need the 10 out of 10 super athlete that could jump out of the gym to play with these guys. Just get me a basketball player, somebody who knows what they're doing out there on the floor that doesn't need their handheld. And Luke, like Tom and Mike have said, Luke is perfect for that role. He just makes the right basketball play.
You know, Sean, you got up in this.
What?
Have we lost you, Jamie? You're frozen.
Yeah, Jamie looks frozen.
Either that or he's reading something really intense.
Chaos.
You know, I read this great story. You were talking a little bit earlier about, LeBron at 50. There's this great story going around that Larry Brown was talking where
there you are, you're still frozen.
Wilt Chamberlain was going down to UCLA and playing games in his 40s, and they asked somebody who was the best player that they ever saw at UCLA playing against various Laker players, and he said it was Wilt at 50. There was a story that Larry Brown told with Wilt took 4 freshman UCLA players against Magic, a whole bunch of the Lakers, and wiped them completely off the court. He was the best player on the court. He was like,
I don't. All right. So before Spectrum Network screwed me again, because I think they just like to turn off my network every once in a while. That's where I'm at with this at this point in time. I was going to say that Jake has kind of slid into Vando's role on this team. That Vando was the agent of chaos a few months ago. Looks like I'm frozen again.
No, you keep
going.
Yeah. Good move.
You're not. Your lips weren't moving, but we heard your voice. Oh, now you're staring.
Keep going,
off.
Jamie.
Now you look mad.
Okay. Anyways, this is chaotic. It's annoying me. I'm gonna call Spectrum again today and be like, "That's it. I'm gonna switch to another company if you don't figure it out." The only bummer is that I'm on Spectrum Sportsnet, which I love because
that'll hurt them.
Watching the Lakers on they'll be really bummed. I'm sure they'll be like, "Oh no, Jamie, no, don't go."
Well, I believe Wilt has the minutes per game record that will never be touched. It's over 45.
Right. and play 48-minute games.
Yeah. He sat for 3 of them. Anyway, I was going to say that I think Laravia slid into Vando's role, and that's put Vando basically all the way at the end of the rotation. And I don't expect Vando to get a ton of playoff minutes. And I expect Lakers to explore trades for him, Connect, some of the lower rotation guys in the summer. I don't know what the return on that's going to be.
Well, I'll attach a draft pick with Vando.
We're not going to do that. I don't think we're going to be attaching draft picks to move guys. I think they'll write it out.
You're bringing up.
I agree. The only reason I'd say that, Tom, is just so we can maximize the Luka era. I wouldn't attach any negative assets to contracts we have. Let other teams do it. My God, look at what the Knicks have gotten themselves into with Mikal Bridges. I mean, very good player, but you gave up 5 first-round picks for a very good player, and they're not going to. They're not going to sniff a championship.
This next summer, the sign and trade would be basically. Okay, I want to. Let's not even get into that. Forget it.
Yeah, we could get into that later. We could get into that after we win the finals this year.
Well,
you're bringing up Vando, and I have a point on Vando. At this point, with Jake completely losing all confidence in his offense, I'd rather see Vando getting those minutes, because Vando's actually can do things that Jake can on the defensive end. I mean, Vando can take on 6'2" quick point guards.
He's a much
Jake can't do that.
Vando's a better rebounder and he's a better defender. Jake's a better all-around player, I would say.
He was when he was making shots.
Yeah, that's true. It's rough to overlook the shot deficiency. I mean, that's the thing. Vando's not gonna score, right? You kind of expect Vando not to score.
At this point, Jamie, if I needed one of those 2 guys to take and make a shot, I'd have Vando do it. I wouldn't give it in Jake's hands right now.
I'm a full-time resident on Vando.
I don't want to live and die on Vando's shot, man.
I love Vando. I love Jared Vanderbilt. Some people don't understand.
If you're on the wing and you get that pass and Vando's down in the corner, if you get that pass, send it back to the top of the wing, top of the key, man. Don't send it down to the corner to Vando.
Let him take the corner 3. He's got to develop the corner 3. Let him shoot it. He might make it. He's got a 30% chance right now, maybe 29. I forget what he's down to.
My biggest problem with
he has a better chance of dunking the ball, but that only happens in like 1 out of 4 attempts.
Yeah, my biggest problem with the best with the best basketball play is when it's in crunch time, the game's on the line. I don't want, for instance, against Denver, they got 3 shots in a row to Marcus. Marcus is hot or cold. I want to give the ball to Luka and let him cook. I don't want the best basketball play when the game's on the line. I want the best guys.
I think that'll tighten up in the playoffs, though. Let's talk playoffs. We're coming up. We're 8 games out. We're 8 games before the playoffs, and we're looking at. We're not locked into the 3rd seed. Houston's not locked into the 6th seed, but the way it's shaping up. The way everybody's schedule goes, I wouldn't be surprised if it basically is this. Maybe Phoenix maybe Minnesota and Denver do some flopping around because they're only half game apart, I think, depending on the day. And so there's a lot of build up, but we've got 2.5, 3 games up.
Yeah, but nobody wants to play the Lakers.
I would agree with that, but especially Houston doesn't want to play the Lakers. Houston does not match up well.
Houston does not want to, but believe me, the Nuggets, the last thing they want to do in the first round is play the Lakers.
Jokic isn't right. Jokic is clearly not right. His knee is not right. His body is not right. He is not right.
I don't think they want to play Minnesota because that's another.
Doesn't want to play us either.
Yeah, that to me, if Denver tries to avoid one team, it's Minnesota because. Yeah, so to me, let's talk about it, Jamie. To me, Minnesota and Houston, let me have either one. Neither one has a point guard. And in the playoffs, guess what? Guess what you need? You need a point guard at the end of games, or you're going to
how come we shut down those 2 teams' greatest stars? Durant and Ant-Man. Because there is no point guard on that goddamn team, and these guys are point guards.
It makes it easy. Like, and I'm
ball out of his hands.
And Tom, I don't mean to be disrespectful because they're both great players, but I'm not. It doesn't. I'm not shook by KD and Ant-Man at the end of games anymore. I'm so like, Kevin, you're one of the greatest scorers of all time.
You're not enough.
But you're not enough. You've always needed a point guard. You always needed Russ or James Harden at the end of games to accentuate what you do well. And then when you went to Golden State, you needed Steph Curry.
The clutch team is because of the three playmakers they got at the top.
And we know Ant-Man isn't a true point guard because he couldn't get himself out of a double team if he had God beside him. So he just thinks he's a bulldozer and can destroy a 5-man unit defensively and bring them on. Bring either one of those two teams on. Neither one of them have a point guard, and I think it'll be a quick 5 or 6 game series, Jamie.
YYC says, avoid the Spurs. Those guards will destroy our backcourt. I'm not worried about the guards. I'm worried about Wembanyama nuking our paint offense. And then somebody else, I want to say it's also YYC, says, would you rather play the Rockets or the Wolves with Edwards not at 100%? Michael?
Well, by the time the playoffs come along, I think Edwards will be 100%. So
nobody's 100% in the playoffs. Come on, man.
Yeah, but he's going to be, he's going to be past this injury, whatever it is. I don't care about I don't care about either one. I think we match up well against either team. Denver's a little more dangerous because Murray gives us hell most of the time. But we held him in check the last time, but that's
Well, he also missed shots.
Well, here's the deal, and this is why the defense has been so great. It's when you have scorers that you make them work for the shots, make them work. Even when they finally get some open looks, they're going to miss more often than they normally would because you throwing their rhythm off, and that's what we've been doing to teams. We've been throwing these top players' rhythms off, and so I'm not afraid of either one of those teams. Denver a little bit more. The proof in the pudding will be, of course, the bigwigs, OKC and the Spurs. I think that we'd have even with Wemby, I think we'd have an easier time with the Spurs than we would be, just because a lot of it, because so many of their players are kids.
Yeah.
And if I could, great point, Michael. And I want to say, nobody knows better than to respect what they're doing. However, this is a young team. We've seen OKC do it. We have to watch and see the Spurs do it. I'm not convinced yet. Just to let everybody know, a few years ago, there was a bright up-and-coming young team in the Western Conference that had a great perimeter player, a great front court player, and they ended up playing Los Angeles Lakers in the first round and got their ass kicked. They were the Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
If the Spurs ran into, I gotta say it. If the Spurs ran into the Clippers, I'm not sure if they win that series outright. I think the Clippers could actually scare the Spurs with their vets.
Yeah, and also the other thing about that too is that it took OKC, had a great team. It took them losing a year before they won it. You don't just walk in and win. Well,
Thunder didn't change history.
Yeah, when we got AD and we went and won the championship that first year, that was a veteran-laden team. Everybody was a vet on that team. For the most part. So it can be done, but with young teams, it takes a year, a couple of seasons. I think so. I think you're right about the Spurs. I think they might have. OKC.
The Spurs are beatable.
Yeah,
a lot more beatable than the Thunder are.
Correct.
Now, if those two teams played, the Thunder. I mean, the Spurs kind of had the Thunder's number, so you never know.
Well, they ain't gonna play. They ain't gonna play because the Lakers.
I think
the Lakers are gonna go to the conference finals at least.
And YYC, to be fair, last year Minnesota did have a point guard. They had a couple of point guards last year. This year they don't have a point guard. And Mike Conley ain't walking through that door. He's 38 years old. I'm not sure why.
In that overtime.
Yeah. I'm not sure why Minnesota thinks this is going to be Methuselah to the rescue with Mike Conley, but it's over. It's over.
What do you have to do to kill the Rocket psyche, man? I mean, Jesus.
You kind of wonder about both the Rockets and the Timberwolves. Why did they not address their point guard position? I mean, especially the Rockets. They knew that Van Fleet was going to be out the entire year.
Same reason that the Lakers didn't address their problems with a small forward or a center.
And Michael, they rewarded Fred with a huge contract, and then weeks later he blows out his knee.
Yeah. They were silly by not bringing in at least a comp. I mean, I was surprised when Tyrus Jones got cut and they didn't pick him up.
Me too.
I mean, they needed.
There was something going on with Tyus Jones though, because all of a sudden. I mean, a guy with a history and the assist to turnover ratio that he has, all of a sudden is cutting from teams and nobody's interested.
Well, he was part of a trade and to a bad team, and those guys, veterans, a lot of times just get cut. So that was.
Age had to catch up with him.
Son of a bitch.
Oh, there you are, Jamie.
Yeah, no, I've had nothing but issues today. I'm gonna have to.
Well, I hope we do better in the playoffs than Jamie's doing right now.
I'm losing my mind here. All right, there my connection looks stable.
Well, I mean, so there are 8 games left. I believe if we went 4, I believe if we went 5-3, we would clinch the 3rd seed. I believe against the Warriors with 2 games left.
Well, what really counts is the game against the Cavs and the 2 against the Thunder.
Yeah.
Those 3 games, we need to win one of the Thunder games. If we win one of the Thunder games, all of a sudden, I think 3 things are going to happen. One, Luka could be an MVP candidate, could really win the MVP. JJ could really win Coach of the Year, and the Lakers could really win the Western Conference.
I think the OKC, the first OKC game is the important one. It is on the road because the second the second one is really late, and who knows whether they're going to be playing. Right. Who are they going to be playing?
Right.
So I think they'll be facing their normal lineup. The first one.
Yeah, the first one's the one we got. You're right, Michael.
Because the second one, if they got the first seed locked up, which they probably will by the time we play them the second time, we may not see any of the regular guys. So. Especially
if we beat them the first time.
Yes, yeah. So I think that first game is going to be the most, and it's unfortunately on the road, but I think it's the bigger of the 2.
YYC says Austin Reeves is averaging too many minutes. He's got 40 minutes a game. I'll put it up on the thing so everybody in the chat can see it. I'm not too worried about that. He's had a lot of rest this year.
Yeah.
In just about a third of the season.
Didn't he say it sucks sitting on the bench? Like the coaching staff wants me to take like notes on deflections and like I'm bored of shit. I actually want to play. I don't want to be on the bench.
He doesn't want to be a coach.
Well, whoever liked being on the bench, man.
Nobody.
Being on the bench sucks.
Bickerstaff has Coach of the Year locked up. Yeah, I agree with that. I think we'll do an awards at the end of the year thing. I mean, there's still
locked up.
Yeah, there's still too much time. There's still enough. I think there's still enough rope left in the season to alter some of these narratives.
Well, they don't even announce. What do they vote before the season ends?
They vote after the season ends, before the playoffs start. While the playoffs
start. Well, yes. during the play-in. Yep.
During the play-in, I think everybody has to submit their votes, and then
which is ridiculous. I think submissions should be after the second round of the playoffs.
I got a question for everybody. Does anybody think that Marcus Smart will get one of the 3 All-NBA defensive teams?
I do.
He could.
I think he'll get third.
I think he'll get
Yeah,
third.
he could end up in the third.
I don't think he qualifies. I don't know that he's going to get to 65 games.
Oh, he's already. Yeah, he'll be okay. He hasn't missed that many games.
Yeah. You sure?
Yeah, if he comes back, I think he's going to be okay.
I think he's right around 60 right now, so he can't miss. I think Luka obviously is going to be a first team. Yes. I think, with all due respect, I think Austin deserves second team, and I think Smart will make third.
He doesn't qualify. Austin's missed. He's already missed too many games.
He's missed many games already. Yeah. That 65 game rule will get changed this summer to something else.
Of course it will. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
What a stupid rule. Have you read the new rule?
They came up with some arbitrary number
for the lottery.
Yes, let's get into that real quick. Actually, we should do a whole show about that. Let's do a whole show about that. That deserves its own show. The whole revamping of the lottery. To be honest, I like weighting it the same way the WNBA does. If I'm being honest, that makes the most sense because it takes multiple years into account. So that, like, if you're if you prove empirically that you're awful, you get more of a chance to get a good pick. I don't know if sometimes I think, why do we reward ineptitude? But I understand why we reward ineptitude. It's to hopefully stem the flow of ineptitude.
But these guys, they don't even look at those draft picks as what they want. They want their money. They want the contributions.
No, it's not about the draft. It's about the perception.
Or luxury tax money.
It's just the image.
Profitable.
This is an image issue. It's not a draft pick issue. Nobody cares about where the draft picks actually end up. It's just the perception that teams aren't trying and that
we have 20 teams tanking out of 30.
Yeah, it's just absurd.
Well, to be fair, the Kings do try. The Kings do try not to be bad. They do try.
I don't know about that. I'm not so sure. Yeah. I'm not so sure.
You know, what's interesting.
How can you own a team as long as the guy that owns the Kings has owned it?
I think the NBA
the whole
draft
world shines shit and calls it gold. Tom,
what was that? Sorry, what was that, Michael? I didn't hear that.
I think that the whole NBA draft thing is going to be more and more weakened by what's going on in college sports now. I mean, some of these guys are getting millions of dollars.
Wow, yeah. Why graduate? Why graduate? I can get all his money now.
Yeah, exactly. So you're going to see, I mean, the top guys, the top young guys, but the guys that normally would fall into the mid to the late first round, early second round, those guys are going to be staying in school.
$3 million
They're going to be making as much at school as they do in the league.
I don't know about that. If it comes down to money, sure. But if it comes down to, I want to challenge for some records and legacy, you want to hit that NBA the minute you can. You don't want to wait till your third, fourth year of college to go by. You need those years to pile up points, numbers, whatever, wins. It doesn't matter what you're looking at, whatever.
How many games do you play in college? 25, 30?
Around 30, 35.
How many do you play in the NBA?
2, baby.
82 plus.
Well, you get a lot of more fun in college. I'm
not talking about the top tier guys. I'm not talking about the top.
We understand that.
I'm talking about the guys later in the draft.
I hear you.
It's better to wait and be a lottery pick next year for these guys than.
Yeah, if you're going to make $2 million by staying in school an extra year,
right.
Oh, I like all these things. We will do a show about the weighted draft lotteries. We'll wait till they come up with a decision because it doesn't make sense to be like, well, it could be this, it could be that, it could be.
There's like 20 scenarios out there right now.
Yeah, well,
it's going to hurt OKC. It's going to hurt these teams that have really loaded up with them because they're not going to be as valuable in going forward.
You know what team I don't worry about? OKC. All right, I got to move on with my day. Going to a No Kings protest today, so let's fight fascism in our own ways, folks. If you don't believe it's fascism right now, I don't know what to tell you. Really don't. Don't know what you're seeing out there when you have your Gestapo police patrolling airports. Guess what? It's fascism. I don't care how you think about it. That's what it is. Anyway, that's Joe loved that little bit, and I'm glad my network worked for that moment. So, on that note, I would like to thank Michael, Tom, Sean. Oh, wait, before we go, what's I'm just going to assume the only reason I was going to end it is because I assume we all think we're going to beat the Wizards on Wednesday.
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Or on on Monday. On Monday. Yeah,
especially with that extra day rest, there'll be a little bit.
The Wizards,
their legs will be back.
we should.
By the way, that means Luka's only played 2 games in 7 days. By the way, so he'll be nice and rested for the stretch round.
What I'm also saying, I don't mind the suspension.
It was the perfect timing. Maybe he did it on purpose.
Thank you, Zaire Williams, for being a dick.
Exactly. For being the catalyst of rest. So anyway, as I was saying, thank you, Sean. Thank you, Laker Tom. Thank you, Michael H. Thank you, chat. Looks like we didn't reach record numbers. I blame myself. I'll take the blame for that. I'm sorry, guys. I'm holding us back. I'm holding us down. I'll move to South Africa. That's the answer here. I'll live in Cape Town. And if
your contract's up for review.
Yeah, what a contract it is. I should hire an agent.
We're going to cut your pay in half, buddy.
Yeah, bro, wonderful. I don't know what I'm going to do now. Anyway, thanks for joining us here on a lovely Saturday morning. Stay safe, be well, and go Lakers.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Play, outro, and end stream.